Hey, everybody, and welcome to the 9 to Side podcast, where we chat with super amazing and inspirational people who pounded the pavement before and after their 9 to 5s to get their side hustles off the ground. After listening to the interviews with these amazing guests, you'll walk away with a refreshed pep in your step and a newfound motivation to make your side hustle a reality. Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 21 of season 2. We've arrived. It's the finale. Woo! I know my husband made many jokes that there was 1,001 episodes, but there were, in fact, only 21, and we've arrived at the finale. And I could not be more excited to talk about my final guest. She's absolutely incredible. And I feel like I meet people sometimes and I'm just like, oh my God, you are like my spirit animal and so amazing. And I love meeting badass women who are super cool and fun and funny and like you'd want to just get a drink you connect with immediately and hang with, but are also just badass in their careers and they're motivated and insane. I feel like those are unicorn people, right? Because they are like they can hang with the best of them. You think they're cool and awesome and fun and they've got it going on in terms of personality, but then they're crushing it business-wise also. And my next guest, she's like queen of the side hustles. She's like a side hustler I love, and she has so much energy. She's a mom and all the things that I'm just like, I love what you do. I just want to hear more and more about you. And I also want to hang out with you and get drinks. So luckily she lives close to me. So maybe if I don't act creepy and fangirl too much, she'll get a drink with me at some point before she gets too famous. So anyway, she started with a do-it-yourself furniture fixes. That was grammatically terrible, but I'm going to roll with it. On Instagram and started fixing up furniture, doing that. So she had that kind of side business where she was doing furniture fixes. Side note, she has 20 years of corporate event planning experience. So I should start with that. So she's already incredibly accomplished in the corporate world and crushed it. And then, of course, like all people, COVID hit. So the do-it-yourself kind of furniture fixes came out of that. She was doing that kind of stuff, posting on Instagram, and then people became interested. And so she started taking on jobs and fixing up people's furniture and doing that for profit, for money. And then on the side, she also created this fitness accountability group where she was doing that through a company called Beachbody, which I think a lot of you know. But so she has this kind of fitness accountability group where people join and she leads them through various groups. And it's kind of like a seasonal thing that she does. And then she created through all this kind of to umbrella all of her side hustles that she has going on, this company called ALBOE, which is wonderfully named. It stands for a little bit of everything. So it encompasses her body, design, and events side hustle business. And then my favorite thing, which I saved till the end, which is hilarious and why I think she speaks to me so much, and I think so many people who are listening to this can relate, is that she started randomly this like mum, M-U-M, planting tutorial where she was just like, it requires zero planting experience. And she says in her own word, like 0 fucks, where she's just like, I don't know what I'm doing, whatever. And so she started this kind of side video series called I Can't Get My Shit Together. And it has taken off. It's taken off. She has millions of views and followers on TikTok. She has a screenwriting deal in the works. I mean, it's huge. And she has a merchandise line of I can't get my shit together stuff, which is amazing. I just bought my sweatshirt. I can't think of a better mantra for myself and a lot of people that I know than I can't get my shit together. So all of her stuff just speaks to me. I just feel like she's got a million balls in the air and she's juggling them all. And I think that it's just so, I don't know, it represents so many people that I know. And it's like, she just puts it out there. It's like, yeah, nobody can get their shit together. Nobody's doing it well. Nobody has it perfect. And she just like puts it out there. It's like instead of posting pictures on Instagram of like a fabulously manicured house with everything clean or, you know, design, she's just like, yeah, I can't get my shit together and I'm doing a million different things. And I Love that. And I think so many people can relate. So I'm so excited for you to hear my interview with her and for her to cap off season 2. I cannot think of a better person to round out this season than my next guest. Her name is Erin McMurray, and her company is called I Can't Get My Shit Together, and also ALBOE, a little bit of everything. So without further ado, this is Erin McMurray. Welcome, Erin McMurray. Thanks for being on the podcast. So excited to have you here.
So excited to be here. It's my first one. I'm a podcast virgin.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
So glad to be the one to, pop your podcast cherry, if you will. Feels so special. Well, I'm sure you'd be great at it. It's super fun. It's just about you, which is always my favorite topic to talk about myself. It makes me feel relaxed to chat about myself. Obviously, it's a podcast about side hustles, and everybody will find out, but you are like the queen of side hustles. So before we get started, just tell me your name, give me a little intro and a background, where you live, who you are, and then let's do a quick elevator pitch of, if you can, sort of what are your main side hustles right now? Can you recap those for us? And then we'll dive into the background and sort of get to how they became what they are. But go ahead, give us a little background.
Yes, my name is Erin. I grew up actually in Fairfield County, but I currently live in Ridgefield, Connecticut. My main career for a gazillion years has been in event planning. And then I've started these little side hustles ever since COVID came to be. We all kind of reinvented ourselves, I guess, and events went away. And so, there's another backstory to that, which we can get to, but I decided I needed more creativity because we weren't seeing anybody, we weren't doing anything. So I started a furniture design business. My first piece was my grandparents' piece that I wanted to put in a newly purchased lake house. I did that. And then I started to get inquiries because everybody was living in their houses and hated their furniture. So that kind of took off. And then I was fat from COVID. So then I started a fitness accountability group, which kind of morphed into one-on-one clients and helping people kind of transform their lifestyles to live healthier, not to get fit and skinny and just to live a balanced lifestyle that they're happy with.
Got it.
And then something happened where I was just on social media poking fun at myself, and I created this little show called I Can't Get My Shit Together.
I love it. I love it.
And now
that speaks to me so much.
Grew up, and it's just this. I've never, ever in my wildest dreams thought I would be here. Thankfully, my husband and I have worked very, very hard where I could do all of these things and become a contractor for my own event company versus working for someone. So that's been wonderful.
So just to kind of recap and just for everybody that's listening. So you were in events, working in corporate events or doing actual events for a company for 20 years. And then COVID happened and you decided to create not one, but several side hustles. So one is, which I love the name of the others, your overall business, do you say it ALBOE?
Yes, it's ALBOE. Okay.
So
a little bit of everything.
I love that. So a little bit of everything.
I can't decide what to do when I grow up. So,
I love that.
So if you think of ALBOE, it's like that one word. And then at the end of the word, it's like a spinner. So it's like ALBOE body, ALBOE design, ALBOE studios, whatever. Think of anything in the world and dream it up and do it.
I love it. So that came first. So COVID happened and you were design, you'd always been into refurbishing furniture. That was always a passion of yours.
It was kind of just this little hobby of mine, brainless work, kind of like meditative almost. And I was saving my grandparents' furniture. Everybody's saying, get rid of it. It was in our attic for 15 years. And I was like, no, I want a lake house to put my dining furniture in. And we actually were able to do that. I refinished that. People started seeing it. And then I was getting calls to do people's furniture, not necessarily purchase my own. I would go into someone's home, or they would drop it off. I would refinish it and they'd put it back in their house. I would do custom designs for people. So take two pieces of furniture, put it together and create something totally different. And I do furniture design for interior designers in the area.
Oh, wow. I feel like okay, so you have ALBOE body and ALBOE design, but ALBOE design started first. So I'm just going to kind of break this down. So you started just doing this because you had furniture, you wanted to put in a lake house. Luckily, you got the lake house. That's amazing. You don't need a lake house to furbish furniture. Just a disclaimer for anyone listening. Just did that as like a passion project. And then you put it on social media. Did you have an idea? You didn't have ALBOE created at the time, right?
I may have had the LLC at the time just because kind of thinking forward in my events career, if I wanted to take it offline and do it myself. So I think I had that. Yes, I started it because it was a passion of mine, a hobby of mine. And it started slow, just a few supplies. And I did my own piece so that I could showcase that to other people. And I did. I created a social media page just for that. I took pictures of my own furniture that I was refinishing, other people's furniture, and also like inspirational things that I liked. And then a design maybe that I created from that inspirational picture, or like Benjamin Moore's color of the year. And then it just kind of started to roll like that. And people through Instagram and Facebook is really where I got all of my business.
Got it. And were you advertising to people, or is this kind of, you're doing it passively? Were you looking to grow the business, or are you like, this is a fun hobby, people were referring you and you're like, it's great if I get business, but I'm not actively looking to, were you trying to grow your followers and advertise and expand? How did you work to monetize it?
At first, I was kind of doing it to get like a brand deal, because that was kind of when brand deals were hot and there were all these influencers coming on, And then I realized like, well, I don't really need that. I'm making money doing this. So why don't I just focus on, from a social media aspect, building a community? That's what you want when you are on social media. You do not want to go on there thinking that you're going to get 1 million followers and I'm going to get a brand deal and all these things. No, you want people to follow you because they want to follow you. So you don't lose them, so that they're engaged with you, so that when Susie Q is like, oh, I know somebody in the area that refinishes furniture, check out her page. And that's how it starts to grow slowly. It's not overnight, but you do have to put the feelers out there too. I'm very social in my community. I do a lot of charitable events, and I'm on the board of the Boys and Girls Club, sports with my kids. So you socialize it and you talk about it a little bit. And then that person talks to that person. And then you go to community event and you just really start talking about it. That is like, I think my number one piece of advice is talk about it.
Talk about people.
You can't just sit in your house and have a side hustle. I mean, you can, I guess some can,
but not.
But if it's something like that, you got to get out there and put yourself out there. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just get out there.
That grew. Were you doing like just commission projects, like where people would reach out to you? Or did you just have pieces you were working on that you would post on your Instagram and people could buy off you and you'd price and they'd pay for them? Or
initially it kind of started with me acquiring pieces and trying to sell them. And then when people saw me trying to sell them, they started to inquire, hey, could you refinish my own piece? And it turned from me purchasing furniture and refinishing it and selling it to not purchasing, so having no overhead essentially, bringing in people's furniture, refinishing it,
and then
charging a fee. They paid for all of the paint and supplies and giving it back. So really the only overhead that I have now is equipment. So a paint sprayer, I started with paintbrushes, but then I made enough money to buy my first like $85 paint sprayer. And then I bought a better one when I had that money. And then I bought the best one when I had that many. So, and then my husband built like a paint booth in our garage. So,
cool.
Yeah. So my garage became my studio, my temperature controlled studio, as I like to call it.
I also saw you give good instruction about enough ventilation if you're spraying.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, don't want to be sitting in a closed garage.
Yeah. Like I only do lacquer in the spring and the fall because you have to do it outside and away from the house. It's horrible. So that's kind of how it started. And also I think I was done with events at that point too, or just kind of rolling into design and out of events
Mhm.
because I was actually on medical leave from my event planning job where I was for 18 years because I ripped my hamstring off my body.
Oh my God, that sounds so incredibly painful. And I love that you said that your friend feels terrible about it, but
Oh,
like you
yeah.
look back. So
Moving a table of
oh
all
my
things,
God.
the poor thing. She was moving. It was the first piece of furniture I moved into her place, and boom, she feels so bad. But I'm like, it's the best thing that ever happened to me
Is that a
because
common industry injury to rip it like off your like
I heard, well, when I went to the doctor, he says like it's a skiing accident, like if you're going over your skis, and
Mhm.
a lot of athletes on turf, if their cleats get stuck
Stuck?
in the turf, that could happen. So you kind of, yeah. So I had it reattached and then I couldn't sit. And so I kind of backed away from the events a little, and things were changing. So they were so crazy in events because everything went virtual.
Right.
And so it just wasn't where my mind was at the time. And it was the best move I made ever.
So were you working, did you get laid off because of COVID or was it just like a different
No,
time?
I took
You
a leave
decided
and then I resigned.
and then you resigned. Okay. So when you were and you were okay, you didn't have to replace your income. It was okay to take time off. So it was fine to work the side hustle and kind of
Right. Well,
sort
kind of.
kind of
We need that income for sure, but so it significantly decreased, and honestly that makes you hustle, so your
hustle.
9 to 5 job becomes a 5 to 9 job.
Right.
But honestly, I love it because it's mine, it's all
Yeah.
mine. I can do whatever I want whenever I want, and
Yeah.
my side hustles ebb and flow depending on how busy I am in one. I might have to back off another. So
I love
it's
that you have them all too in channels. So okay. So you moved away from the events business. You have ALBOE design and you're working on that. And that's like in one area. And then you decided to create, does that continue like before we leave that one to talk about ALBOE body? Did that come shortly after that? And they're both like side hustles. Like, did you have an
they
idea to
are
want to
side
grow the
hustles.
design
I
business to
did.
be like you did? Okay.
I wanted the design. I have this vision in my head and I still have it. It kind of gets into the back of my head and I have to bring it forward. But I always wanted a space, like a big warehouse where I could have women come in who are getting back on their feet, or they want something in their lives and they're searching for their meaning, basically their purpose. I would love to be able to have this warehouse that on one side we do like furniture design or create furniture. On another area, we're planning events or using that space as an event venue, and now there's other things that came to be, but that was initially my vision,
Oh,
was to
that's
have an event space and a furniture redesign together
so that was the main side hustle business that you wanted to make a
to
full-time business.
grow.
And then
Yeah.
what happened? You were like, all right, I'm going to do ALBOE body. When did that come about?
So ALBOE body was just me. Like I said, I couldn't stand myself anymore because I was like, it was like
You and
depression
a
15.
bazillion other people that were like, I just gained 40 pounds. I didn't even realize it. Love my house.
I couldn't handle myself anymore. So I was like, I want to feel better. I actually started a small Facebook group with my friends. And I started this program. It's through Beachbody. I don't know if you've heard of Beachbody.
Yes.
So I'm a Beachbody coach actually. But they weren't doing Beachbody. Well, some of them might have been, but I was doing it and I was challenging myself. So I was like, it's really working for me. This is how I did it. And then probably a year later, people started saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? Because I lost 30 pounds. I gained
Oh,
tons
wow.
of muscle. And they're like, I need whatever you are doing. So I created a program and an accountability program for one-on-one coaching. I created that. So I took 3 women that I charged nothing for them to be I call them my beta girls. They were doing, I can't recall how many weeks we did it together, but basically it might have been 3 months. I took them through what I envisioned to be my program so I could sell it to other people.
Very cool. So how did you come up with the program? Does Beachbody coach you? Do they help you come up with a program, or you came up with it?
I came up with it thinking like, okay, what did I do? I went back to like my last year of the workouts, the nutrition, like what did I really do? Who am I following? What messages did I keep from all of the social media or articles that I was reading? So I took a fitness coaching program, a mindset coaching program, because losing weight is about mindset. It's not about, it's about that first, then nutrition, then fitness.
Right.
I built a program. These women helped test it for me. They reviewed documents that I created. They really did it, and they did it for free. And then we got into pricing, like how much do you think I should? And they really did help me significantly. Then I started selling it. I didn't wait for it to be perfect. I just started selling it. People trusted me.
How did you figure out? Because this is also like for people listening, this is the kind of thing that I think people think about. And again, the thing that differentiates people that actually execute on ideas versus like having them and then sort of faltering on actually getting things off the ground. And you said it perfectly. Like you didn't wait till it was perfect. Like you took some courses and then you figured out pricing and you just started charging. Like what were you charging for your course?
I have stopped doing the one-on-ones just because it's so intense and intensive in terms of time. But when we were doing the beta group, we started talking about, okay, well, how much is a membership to the gym? How much would you pay to go do a class, just a one-off class? I started doing these things, and I think I created pay scale, which I can look up, but I don't have it in front of me. But it was like $400 a month or something like that, because I then broke it down and equated it to my minutes. How much is it worth for me to do this for someone else also?
And this was one-on-one coaching. So you're not, it's not like a group thing. Okay. So you're doing, this is all a one-on-one coaching program. It's not something that's like passive revenue where they sign up and they're getting videos of you.
Right. Well, there was that part of it too. Like I said, I joined Beachbody in 2015 and I've just been doing it on and off for years. And then I started to say to people like, do you want that? And I became a Beachbody coach, because it's a pyramid in a sense, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do use it as my fitness tool. If people want to buy other things from it, great. If you want to go to a gym, then my fitness accountability programs are not for you, because it's all through Beachbody.
Right.
It works for people who want to work out at home. So what they do, if you want to be a part of my fitness accountability group, which I have one starting on April 10th, they purchase a 12-month membership, and it's about $180. It's
through
all
Beachbody. And you get,
online. And then I do get a commission off of that, and anything they purchase from, they want protein shakes or supplements or new equipment or whatever they want, they could get it on their own. But that's the thing that I require for people to be in my fitness
to be in your group. And
then they're in my groups for a whole year for $180. I mean, it's a good deal.
And then you guys meet live how many times for the accountability group?
We don't meet face-to-face live like this, but they're on the Beachbody app. There's a tracker. So it's basically this Beachbody has done for you. So it was me just learning the tool and then selling it. But there's a tracking system on their app. That's every single day we check in together.
Got it. So you guys are just like making sure that you're all doing the program and you're signed up. Got it. For ALBOE, you've moved away from the one-on-one coaching design, and now it's really the Beachbody accountability group where you make your money, and that's the commission. But you still promote it. I know you have your separate, you have your Instagram group.
My ALBOE Instagram that I do all of it there.
Oh, breaking down, and then we're going to move on to the next side hustle that you have, your third side hustle, which is, I don't know, I'm biased, but maybe the name just gets me as my favorite. But ALBOE design, you're still going. That's revenue that's coming in. You have ALBOE body, and that's coming in. That's revenue, right? You're earning revenue from those two currently. Yep. And
the design is actually in a little bit of a hibernation, because my events, because I'm in events again,
Oh, you
And
are in events again.
I
You're back
am
in.
an event back. So that's my main cash. That's my day job. So these are truly side hustles now.
These are truly side hustles now. Okay.
Yes.
So you're back in events. And does the events have to do, let's talk about the third is the I can't get my shit together, which is the best. Tell me about that. Is that a side hustle or is that your events? Is that rolled into your day job events or is that separate?
Well, that there is, if we think of side hustles, like usually like for a side hustle, you want to make some cash, you know,
Right,
and
of course.
it's like a hobby that or your passion, and you're, from me being on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, I don't make money. I don't have brand deals. I think it's a little hard for brands to be like, I can't get my shit together. Let's put it with our brand. You know what I'm saying? They're probably like, well, why would I want her? She can't get her shit together. Why would I want her representing our brand?
Right. Wait, back up because I didn't give it a good introduction. So now you have the two.
Okay.
Tell us how you got third,
arguably
God. Side hustle is and how it got started, which is what I absolutely love, which I saw on Instagram. And I was like, I saw a friend of mine wearing the leggings that you sell. And I was like, I love that phrase. Where do I find it? And so tell me about how the evolution of that I can't get my shit together came about.
I was sitting in my kitchen with a girlfriend having coffee, and she's like, and we're talking. What's been really nice is I've had girlfriends that just want to meet for coffee and talk about, what do we do? You know, we've kind of lost ourselves, I think, if you're a mom along the way. And it's like, who am I?
Right. What happened to me?
Right. We were having one of those conversations to come to Jesus.
Right.
And she's like, well, you know, you have a presence and maybe you could do like a fun like kitchen show because you're doing your nutrition. And I was like, I don't know about that. I don't really like to be on camera. And I was like, I don't know. I thought about it and I did a reel and I posted it, and it was me making chicken for my children. But, you know, like I can make this, but they're not going to eat it anyway. But, you know, so it was one of those, and I just did it to put myself out there. And I really just was doing it for my family and friends, like to be funny. They know I'm an idiot. You know, they're like, haha, she's being herself again. That kind of came to be. And then I started doing a couple more. And then one night I was sitting on my
Was this on a separate Instagram? Like, is this your own?
It was on ALBOE actually to start.
Oh, okay. It was on ALBOE. Okay. Got it.
And then I was like, I can't get my shit together, and ALBOE doesn't match.
You're like, wait a second. I want to sign up for ALBOE, but she's always talking about how she can't get her shit together. You're like, I don't know if that's the thing I'm going for. You're like, I'm trying to get my shit together.
Maybe I should migrate these videos over to a different channel, probably. So I did. Eventually I did. But one night I was sitting outside. It was like a beautiful night, and I was having red wine with ice on my front porch.
This is why I love you when you said red wine with ice. I was like, so many people cringe. I'm like,
they cringe.
So many levels.
They're like, you're ruining it. So I'm sitting out there, and it must have been a fall night because I'm sitting out there and I'm looking around me, and I'm like, the moms, the beautiful Costco moms, are sitting like maybe 6 inches from the planters and have been for 3 weeks. And I'm like, you've got to be like, just put them in the pots.
Right.
So I came up with like a little skit, and I threw it on TikTok and Instagram, and TikTok went nuts. And that's kind of how it was born.
That's so fun.
And in some ways, when you're making money and you're trying to pay your bills, you better get your shit together, right? So I get my shit together in my business, but in my home life, it's all over the place. Like, I don't even know how my husband deals with it.
Yeah. But no, and I think that
the children are fed and alive. That's all that matters. And the dog.
I think that's the bar that you have to set. And I think that's why your brand and I can't get my shit together is just so relatable. I think people want to see, you know, things that are more relatable and real to their life. Like it's not very inspiring, nor does it make you feel good about yourself to see people who are like have 4 kids and look immaculate and their house looks amazing, because, you know, that's definitely not real life. And so I feel like it's really refreshing to see somebody who's like, yeah, you don't have your planters like all set up and perfect. And I kill plant. Like I can't keep one single plant, even those like bonsai thing, like they die. And I'm like, that's supposed to be the easiest plant to keep. I'm like, why is that so hard? I don't know. So I love the like all that's happened with I can't get my shit together. So talk to me about like what's gone on with this. It's just funny videos you're posting these to get, that's one thing. But what do you do with that traffic when you get that? For anybody like, cool, then what do you do with it?
And I just a disclaimer to go back. I really truly admire the Martha Stewarts and like Joanna Gaines and all of them for the design work. That's their passion that they've grown. They have teams,
of course,
and no slight to them. But when I do my videos, it might come off as that way, and I don't want it to. But it's true. We're real life. But going back to traffic, when the videos were going, I was trying to answer people. I was trying to like comments. I was trying to interact with these people because, as I said before, you're creating a community who wants to be there with you. And it also boosts you in your algorithm when you interact in different ways. So when people like, when people comment, when they share, they save, the more that they do that, the more that your video starts to boost. The more you interact with them, tag people, collaborate with people, you will start to gain traffic just because you're doing those things. And that's any social media. That's how I guess they promote your video.
Okay. Side hustles. How did you do that? What are the steps to getting that launched?
That it took me 2 weeks of like a lot of time, but it was well worth it. I use Shopify.
Okay.
And I use a drop ship company called Printful. And so Printful is basically, it's all custom. So they order on my website, which is through Shopify. A friend of mine did the logo, a friend of a friend, Kyle, he was awesome. He did several different logos. So I did pay for that separately because I knew I would have them and it was perfect. And then I created a couple of my own designs through Canva. So you go to Shopify, you look it up, Printful, you load that in, set up the app, set up the Printful account, and then you start to pick out your clothes.
Okay, so I was going to ask, you pick out the clothes.
That.
Very cool. Okay, so you picked out all the merchandise you wanted with your stuff on it.
Yeah. And now I just asked this question this week. What do you want to see? Because I was thinking like I'll do a spring summer collection where I need to add more stuff because people have already gotten their sweatshirts that say, hashtag ICGMST. People love the oh hey. That's when I open the door and I'm like, oh hey.
Yeah, so it's awesome. It's like, so for anybody listening, you have to go to what's the website that they go to?
It's ICGMST.com. Okay. It does not roll off the tongue, but it's the acronym for I can't get my shit together.
Yeah, but everybody has to check out the merchandise. There's candles, there's wine glasses, t-shirts, sweatshirts. I'm going to go there and get something for myself. So it's awesome.
And I offer discount codes. Like if you go to my stories on Instagram or on Facebook, I usually run some sort of promotion code.
Very cool. And then who does the fulfillment? Like who ships it out? Do you ship internationally or just like US? How does that work?
You could set it up in any way you want. And again, it takes a little while to understand it. You have to learn the platforms to understand where you're going. I have a lot of people from the UK, Australia, Ireland, so I don't know that they ship out there, or if they do, it's just too expensive. So they don't do it, because I'm getting like Shopify's rates for shipping through DHL, UPS, and FedEx, and then US Postal Service. But then, other things may come to be from I can't get my shit together.
I want to talk about that because I want to hear what is next. So most of your money from I can't get my shit together right now, it all comes from, you're not spending any money on advertising or that's all organic. You've got followers coming in, you're creating content daily, and then all the revenue is coming in from your merchandise.
It is.
Got it. How much revenue would you say you make like a month from your merchandise?
Not that much, maybe $500.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
I can't get my shit together speaks to me beyond words. And I was like, I need to have those. And so I feel like you are building your brand. Like that's the best marketing. So that's really smart. So let's talk about what's come of I can't get my shit together. And like, what's in the works?
Well, back in
Well,
October, this lovely woman reached out to me. Her name's Susan Brightbill. She's a Hollywood screenwriter. And she said, hey, what would you think if we had a chat and we chatted about creating a TV show? So we are creating a TV show, and hopefully someone out there will buy it. So there's one thing to write the script and maybe even shoot a pilot. It's another thing to actually sell it and then for it to be on TV.
right.
There's a lot of steps. I'm learning so much. It's very exciting that I've learned. I feel like I have to take this opportunity. I didn't put myself out there for this to happen. I just wanted like Windex to pick me up and me to make $50. You know what I'm saying?
Some free Windex.
So this came to be. And so we're collaborating about that. She's actively writing the pilot, and we are going to either shop it in Hollywood or shoot the pilot, and then try to sell it to Hollywood.
So how does that work? Because for me, I know nothing about how Hollywood screenplays get pitched, so she liked the name, the concept, like your whole vibe of what you're doing. And then does she own it? Is she like, I want to work with you to like, what is the concept? What is the concept that she's writing the script around? Like, what is that she pitched you and wants to write a screenplay about?
It's about me, which is when I say it, it's just,
you're like,
it's so ridiculous.
It's like, about me.
Oh,
go on.
I'm like, I'm not that.
You want to write it about me?
It's about my life. It's about that relatable. Women can relate. People can relate to everything's not perfect.
Right.
Sometimes you just can't keep up with the Joneses, and it's okay. So it's kind of like that concept. When she reached out, she's sold TV shows, movies. She's writing a book. So she's, to big Disney and ABC. I mean, so she's done it.
That's awesome.
She's teaching me so much, and she's kind of driving this a little bit. So I am the intellectual property. So I do own this. She is my screenwriter who's going to create this. We'll come to terms on it, I guess. And then we'll take the next step and see where that goes. She socialized it in Hollywood, and they love the concept. It's just, it's a different environment right now in Hollywood, I guess, and what they're putting out on TV. But there's a home for everything. And like I said, I don't take no for an answer. So I was like, well, screw Hollywood. We could do this.
I feel like the sky is the limit. It's not like there's a million different places you can distribute content. I guess I'm always wondering like how it's about you, but would you star in it then? Or could she just go off and take the inspiration of what you've created and kind of write it? Or it really is like you said you're the intellectual property. So is there a contract? Like, do you get a contract in place for that kind of thing that guarantees that you have rights to that story? Like if it got sold, you get a payout kind of. You have a contract in place.
We don't have a contract yet. We're working on that. The show itself is about me, although I have 2 sons, but she's going to add a daughter.
Add a third. Why not?
Why not? Girls are drama. I know. She's going to do that. And she's so smart in the way television is written. And she explains it so much better than I do on how it all works.
It's so exciting though. I feel like
so
it's an
exciting
amazing opportunity. And I think you're such a great, like, I was so excited to interview you because like in terms of this whole thing is about side hustles, and you have a bazillion side hustles. And I think one of the most, like the greatest lesson from you is you've just kind of, you don't say no to things. You just put yourself out there, and these things have kind of come into your universe, and you're seizing the opportunity to take advantage of them. And I feel like the sky is the limit. So
I absolutely agree to that. I would say one thing that I have learned in my old age is that we only have one life to live. And I think I've stopped living it like I have 2 lives. You have to seize the moments. You have to seize the opportunities. I would never get this opportunity again. Why wouldn't I go for it? So what happens?
Yeah.
I don't get a TV show, but what a ride.
What a
right?
ride. I mean, how many
So who
people, what a
cares?
great cocktail story. I feel like a
Right. Like
cocktail party
this is
story.
like
It's amazing. I
pumps
mean,
you up. It makes you realize like, wow, maybe I can do some things, but you have to put yourself out there. If you're doing any kind of side hustle, you do. You have to get yourself out there, talk to people, network, use free resources. There are a ton out there.
okay, cool. All right. Well, then in closing, I don't want to take up any more of your time. Tell us all the places that we can find you, where your websites are, where you are on social media.
Okay. So on the World Wide Web, I'm at ICGMST.com. That's my online merchandise store. You can find me on social media on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, ICGMST. For ALBOE Design on Instagram, which is not very active right now, but ALBOE Design, ALBOE Design, ALBOE Body, ALBOE Body, and they're both mirrored on Facebook, the same names.
Got it. Okay, great. And I'll include all that in your description so people can link out. So thank you so much. This is so
this
fun.
is wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.